Hello everyone, welcome to Chibi and Chill, the anime podcast. I'm your host Ryan. Welcome back if you listened last week, and if it's your first episode with me, hello, welcome. I hope you enjoy the show. The show's all about anime, manga, and everything in between. So I hope you're geared up for an exciting episode. So some little things before we get started and dive into today's episode. If you're looking for anime merch, you love chibi style artwork, you love the kawaii, cute aesthetic for anime, there's 15% off for the next few days on my Etsy shop. Over there you'll find pin badges, phone cases and prints, and some digital downloads of popular anime characters such as Sailor Moon, Chainsaw Man, Attack on Titan, Black Clover and many more. Many of them I speak about on this podcast. If you're a fan, there's worldwide shipping. You can get a range of goodies. Maybe it's someone's birthday and you need an anime gift for them. Perfect. Check out my Etsy shop. There's 15% off until, I believe, Monday at the time of this episode going out. So do check it out. The link is down below in the episode show notes. For Apple Podcast listeners, the second episode of the Chibi Piece exclusive Apple Podcast subscriber exclusive episode is now live. The series is a manga and anime news series all around the top 5 stories for that week and some mini headlines in there as well. It's a great way to stay on top of the absolute amazing industry that anime and manga is. However, there's so much news, so it's a great way to keep on top of the headlines, hear the top 5 stories for that week, and hear them at your own leisure. Maybe you're cleaning, maybe you're working, maybe you're just having a coffee with me and listening. It's a great way to stay on top of the latest news for the industry. There's a small update as well on the episodes that have already been out. The titles, I've changed them to include the actual headlines themselves, or at least the topics of what I'll be talking about. So you'll see each week when the episode goes up, the episode number and actually what I'll be talking about. So this last week's episode, it mentions the MAPPA stage event, the Crunchyroll Anime Spring 2023 lineup and more. So you can see and get a little sneak peek of what each episode includes. So last week was all about isekai anime, and I went through the history of isekai from both a manga and an anime sense, and then covered some of the recommendations for that genre. I learned loads from the episode, and for the past couple of days I've actually stepped away from One Piece to try a different series out, just because I don't want to become burnt out with the One Piece anime and the marathon that it is. It's well over 1,000 episodes currently, and it's only going to grow. So I don't want to race through it. I want to enjoy the journey. I don't want to see them as purely a tick box exercise. I want to be able to enjoy the series at a nice pace. So yesterday and today I've been watching The Devil is a Part-Timer, which is one of the isekai I mentioned in the past episode. It's been a great series to dive into. I've really enjoyed it. The characters are so fun and varied, and they work at a McDonald's which looks so close to a McDonald's dupe. It's absolutely great. It's been a great series to dive into, and it's super casual, and it's been great to have on in the background, and there's some great humour in there. There's some really great quotes that it made me howl and I rewound a couple of times. So if you didn't check out last episode, if you're looking for a new isekai anime, do check out The Devil is a Part-Timer. There's 2 series out at the minute, and the second one is a lot glossier than the first, so they must have maybe a different team that worked on it, or they got a little bit more of a budget for the second series. It's really great. Do check it out. So this episode for this week is all about the Pokemon Horizons anime. It's kind of what we know so far about some of the characters, and when are we expecting the release for the series. So I mentioned it briefly in my Chibi Piece exclusive Apple Podcast subscriber exclusive episode, and we spoke a little bit about it there, but in this episode I'm going to go much more in depth. So over the past week, Pokemon said goodbye. After 25 to 26 years, they said goodbye to Ash in the most recent episode of the franchise and begins a new series called Pokemon Horizons. Over the past week, the name was shared and a few little tidbit details along with a trailer. So it's a little bit bittersweet. It's great that we're getting a new series. I do think it's a little bit sad at the same time. And many of us have grown up with Ash, and we've seen him after countless generations. Well, not countless. There's been eight generations, but that's such a long time to see one character's journey and finally become Pokemon Master and achieve that goal that we've seen him go at for so long. We've seen it. I'm 28 now, and I grew up with Ash as the protagonist, so it's a little bit bittersweet to see two new protagonists take over. However, it is very exciting. With the new anime and the change of protagonists and the region and the new Pokemon generation, there is a lot of scope for Pokemon to really change and adapt or update the formula for the anime. The anime has more or less followed the same formula since we started Ash's journey 25-26 years ago, and in theory, it's been one continuous story of Ash's goal to become a Pokemon Master, and we saw that happen in a very, very emotional kind of episode that happened a little while ago. So with two protagonists, it also means that we can follow three storylines in theory. So the main one that includes both Liko and Roy, and then I'm assuming that the episodes will also feature some of their own respective individual stories. So Liko's journey and Roy's journey. I'm assuming that they don't have, maybe they have a shared vision, but I'm assuming they don't follow the exact same path. Otherwise, why would we have two protagonists? Unless it's to maybe engage a wider demographic, maybe. But this could give a lot more depth to the anime and allow Pokemon to pack a lot more into each episode. So we did get a trailer, and we'll speak about that in a little bit of time. But for the two protagonists, we have Liko and Roy, and a boy and a girl. We can see from the very start of the trailer the shape of Liko's pendant. It's the same shape that we saw or we see on the terrestrialization gimmick in the games. And Liko's pendant glows, and the trailer shows quite a bit of emphasis on Liko battling with her partner Sprigatito and the new gimmick from the game, the terrestrialization. Liko is joined on her journey with Roy. Roy's partner Pokemon is Fuecoco, and he's said to be seeking out a legendary Pokemon. That's his quest. I'm not entirely sure what Liko's specific individual quest is. I couldn't find that out. However, in the trailer it is shown that Roy is holding quite a steampunk style Pokeball that I haven't seen really anywhere else. And it did make me think, in the game you get Coraidon or Moraidon really early in the game, which is quite strange for a Pokemon game to give you the legendary that early on. So is this Pokeball that he holds in his hand in the trailer the Pokeball for Coraidon or Moraidon? And also, how does he get it? We get the Pokemon on the beach. So does he find it on the beach as well? How closely linked is the game storyline linked to the anime? So from the trailer and from the Pokemon social media accounts like TikTok and Instagram, we can see some returning characters and very familiar faces. There are some new faces. We have a Captain Freddy. I think it's spelled Friede. I think that's meant to be said Freddy. However, I'm not entirely sure in English. And we do see Pikachu, but it's not Ash's Pikachu, it's a different Pikachu. And it's Captain Pikachu wearing a little captain's hat, which looks like almost like a marine captain's hat. And these are said to lead a group called the Rising Volt Tacklers, and Captain Pikachu and Freddy are said to assist Liko and Roy to understand the mysteries of their pendants and the Pokeball. So it looks there, and it sounds like both of their stories, like I mentioned earlier, do converge into one, but there are almost three storylines coinciding here, which would be really nice. So alongside those, Liko and Roy also meet a group called the Explorers, and the details for these I haven't been able to determine yet or find a lot out about. However, it's said that these could be the new villains. There was a trailer featuring the Explorers member Amatheo and his partner Salarege. It's hard when you don't say them out loud. Usually, Cerulege, and then there is Zero and Rhydon, and then Konia and Golduck. And these suggest that they're the new villains for the series. I didn't find out quite so much, but they very well could be. On the Pokemon social media accounts, you can also see, especially on Instagram, they may have posted it on Facebook. I'm not really on Facebook, so you may be able to find it on there as well. But on Instagram, there is a carousel post, and it shows the different members, or specifically different characters for the series, and there are more on there than what I was able to actually find out about. However, you can see some different partner Pokemon. You can see there's a Chansey on there, there's different Pokemon on there, and there's quite a nice mix of generations on there, which is sometimes really nice. It's nice to see all these different worlds kind of come together, or different regions come together, and different generations all kind of merge into one. This is obviously a podcast, so I can't turn the camera around and show you the post. However, if you look on Instagram, you'll quickly see it. I do think one of my favourite characters from that post is Amatheo. I'm assuming that's how you say his name in English. Amatheo looks very, very cool. On his slide, you can see there's illustrations of his head, but his hair is white with yellow triangles on. And in the coloured illustration on the left, the main kind of image for Amatheo, his hair is like grey. So I don't know what causes this transformation. Is he got some kind of supernatural ability? Can he terrestrialize? There's quite a few unanswered questions around that illustration, and there's no wording to kind of go with it, so that's left very open to the imagination. His partner is Scarlet as well, which is, in my opinion, one of the very cool new Pokemon for this generation and the Scarlet and Violet games. It's such a cool design. I can't wait to see how they bring that character to life. In the trailer as well, we do see a shiny Rayquaza, but there's also a texture on this Rayquaza, and it looks almost like it's about to, or is starting, or has just terrestrialized. And there's also a stranger link, or at least a link shown in the trailer to Rayquaza and Lico's amulet. There's a sort of beam that goes off from the amulet in the trailer up into the sky and appears to, maybe it hits Rayquaza and it's shiny, it's black, it's very cool looking. And does that mean, though, that the legendaries in the anime for Scarlet and Violet can terrestrialize, and what kind of type do they turn into? That'll be really interesting, and wonder how does this dynamic affect the wider Pokemon universe, I guess. So I was able to find a synopsis for the first episode. So it says, Liko, a girl from the Paldea region, has enrolled at Psychiel Academy, a boarding school in the Kanto region. Liko is delighted to receive her first Pokemon, Sprigatito, but it doesn't listen to her at all, a little bit like what we saw with Pikachu. While Liko struggles to deepen her bond with Sprigatito, on the other hand, suspicious people appear who are looking for Liko's mysterious pendant. Murdoch, who is skilled at cooking, and his partner Pokemon Rockruff, Molly, who specializes in healing treatments, and her partner Pokemon Chansey, and Ludlow, Liko, and Roy will come across Amatheo, who is joined by his partner Pokemon Cerulege, and belongs to an organization called the Explorers, as well as a popular video streamer known as Nidothing. So that is pretty much where we're at information-wise for the series. There is a release date of April 14th in Japan, and overseas release is yet to be confirmed with an actual date, but it will be in 2023. It should also be shown on Netflix. The other series have been, and Netflix haven't specifically said, yes, we will be streaming this show. We haven't seen anything or heard anything, or I haven't at least, but all the other movies are on there, all the other series are on there, so I think it's expected that they will take up the platform as well. With a new Pokemon generation as well, with a new anime, there's also the question of the Pokemon movies. Along the same theme as earlier, we followed Ash on his journey throughout all these Pokemon anime series, but we've also followed Ash throughout the Pokemon movies as well. So that leaves another question kind of open now that they've ended Ash's journey. Does the stream of Pokemon movies that are going to follow this new anime series going to follow Liko and Roy instead of Ash? Now that we've seen Ash kind of achieve his goal, achieve what he wanted to, and they've said quite a gracious and nice goodbye to Ash, what happens to the Pokemon movie line? There are over 25 or 23 to 25, if not more, Pokemon movies to date, so they churn these things out. So what are the next series of films going to look like for the Pokemon franchise? And again, I think the same can be said about the Pokemon anime. They have so much more scope now to kind of reinvent the wheel with their movies. Reinvent what they do, reinvent the formula, reinvent how they approach the movies as well. Because they're starting off from almost a fresh slate with Liko and Roy and this new anime series. I think there's a lot of scope, and hopefully they might even throw more budget at it. We all know they've got the budget to be able to do a lot of this stuff. This is the world's biggest franchise after all. So I really hope they start to really put in a lot more resource into the anime movies and the anime itself. So the news for Scarlet and Violet doesn't really end there either. So we've got news of the game expansions. So recently, 2 new expansions were also previewed for the Scarlet and Violet video games. The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, Part 1, the Teal Mask, and then Part 2, the Indigo Disc. These look like really good expansions, and the Indigo Disc shows a very, very cool Pokemon. It looks like a big turtle, and it's got a shell that's like clear, like a crystal, and it shows the different Pokemon types on the shell. It's very, very cool looking. I've heard some very interesting theories about the Paldea region actually being on this Pokemon's back, and there's some very, very interesting theories there. None of them confirmed, obviously, but if you scroll on TikTok for 5 minutes on the Pokemon side of TikTok, there's plenty of theories on there. I do wonder how these will affect or be shown in the anime. I wonder how closely will they link these new DLCs that they seem to be doing with their new formula for the movies, the anime. Will the treasure of Area Zero actually be the focus of the next movie that they make that feature Liko and Roy? That could be a great way to tie in all these different franchise areas. So as well as the new anime and the new game expansions, there's also news of the new Pokemon TCG game as part of Scarlet and Violet. So the next installment for the TCG, featuring Pokemon Scarlet and Violet branding and the new region, the new Pokemon, new characters, will be available on March 31st, which at the time of this podcast episode release is actually today. I've seen on TikTok and Instagram some people that have been invited to go and go on these like little launch parties for the TCG, look at the cards, open some of the booster packs and the battle packs, and they look great. They look really, really fun. So the packs feature the Pokemon from the Paldea region with gorgeous looking cards. I've seen some of the cards on Instagram, but I've also seen some of them on the Pokemon Zone website as well, and the artwork looks. On the Pokemon website, they also state that EX cards return with Scarlet and Violet Paldea Evolved expansion coming in June 2023, and this set will have 190 cards, 30 trainer cards, and more than 15 brand new Pokemon EX. So if you do collect the Pokemon cards, this is a great new set to add to your collection. There sounds like there's a lot of cards and a lot of cards in the expansion of the new set as well. So there's a lot to get stuck in with, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of secret rares, holos, and everything in between that always comes with the Pokemon TCG sets. I'm a little bit more casual with my card collecting for the Pokemon cards. However, I do love seeing people open them, and I love those open the cards with me videos on TikTok. So I can't wait to see some of the artwork for these cards and see the full set of people opening them and seeing the artworks. I want to see the full art cards and the holographic cards. They're always the best ones. They're always super exciting to see full art cards and see the full trainer cards, things like that. They're so, so good. And the artwork always varies between the cards, but that's always really nice. Different artists are always featured. There's already some great artwork for Miraidon and Koraidon, so I cannot wait to see those in all their glory. So there's kind of a balance of a lot of news and also not a lot of news on both the anime and the other areas. There's enough to kind of keep us quiet for a little bit and keep us excited for a little bit until things release. However, what do you think? Will you be watching the new Pokemon anime? I'm, again, a lot more casual with watching the Pokemon anime. I have such a large watch list on Crunchyroll that I don't really watch the Pokemon anime quite as much. It's nice, though, to see such a dedication to the anime. It's, having grown up with it, it's got such a kind of rose-tinted glasses effect to it. However, will it have the same kind of effect for me when Ash isn't there? However, I do really want to see at least maybe the first episode, see what it's like, see what Pokemon do with the new direction that they're going in and how prominent they're making it for the next protagonists and their storylines, however, whatever they may be. Also, will you be getting the new game expansions? I'm nowhere near finished on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I feel, again, I've said this quite a theme, a little bit more casual with the playing of it. I go through fads with the game quite often. I'll go through weeks of playing non-stop and really, really make loads of progress on the game, and then nothing. Right now, at the minute, I'm in my in-between. I've played it for a little bit, I've come off it for a little bit now, and I need to pick it back up. But I do like the idea of the expansion pass, especially the second one. I really like the turtle looking Pokemon, so I think that will pull me back into the game. Again, the TCG, will you be picking up the new sets? Will you be buying the battle packs? Or like me, are you happy kind of watching people on TikTok unbox them for you and seeing all the art in their 4K glory in the camera? I think I may pick up a pack or two if I pass them. Maybe if I go to a local GameStop here in Ireland, I may pick up a few packs just to see some of the artwork, and hopefully I may even get lucky and get a really nice card in the back. Thank you for joining me on this week's episode of Chibi and Chill, the anime podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something. I definitely have. Down in the show notes, you'll find links to all of my Etsy shops, my social media, and more. My Etsy shop is full of anime merch illustrated by me. Chibi style artwork that's cute and features a range of merch, including phone cases, prints, and much more coming very soon. And on there, you'll find anime characters from a bunch of your favourite series, including Sailor Moon, Attack on Titan, Black Clover, Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, and much more. Be sure to follow the shop on Etsy and you'll be notified of every behind the scenes photo, every sale, and every new product launch. If you're a mega fan of anime, then why not check out my brand new Patreon monthly subscription club. There are 3 tiers of membership: Chibi Fan, Chibi Super Fan, and Chibi Mega Fan, with each tier being better than the last. Each month, for one cost, you'll receive free prints, free downloads, and much more, including exclusive behind the scenes videos, photos, and more of how I create my prints and anime themed artwork. If you'd like to receive exclusive updates and anime themed goodies every single month delivered straight to you, then why not check out my Patreon? The link's down below. I'm sure you'll love being a part of the Chibi Weeb fan club. Sometimes finding a birthday card or an occasion card can be a boring task. However, I have some anime themed cards on my Thortful.co.uk creator profile, which is found in my links on social media. Over on Thortful, you'll find a bunch of anime themed cards such as Studio Ghibli Happy Birthday cards and more, with my range being updated regularly. Each card is processed by Thortful.co.uk, with shipping being fast, quick and efficient. You can shop my anime themed cards over on my Instagram, with my links being over on there. Just search Chibiweeb Anime and you'll find me. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for checking out the podcast. It really does mean a lot. Please do leave a rating and a review down below. It really does support the show and it's free to do. I'll see you next time. I'll see you next Friday. Have a great weekend. If you're a subscriber or if you're thinking of subscribing or starting the free trial on Apple Podcasts, I'll see you on Sunday for the next episode of the Chibi Piece exclusive Apple Podcast exclusive episode on Sunday. Thanks guys. Bye bye.